Within the status quo, there are so many countries that actually have critical resources, but they cannot effectively use it as a fundamental needs to develop their country, be it in economy or simply using it for electricity. That's why inside of the house, we believe that it's more beneficial to let third party intervene the usage of critical resources especially. But before moving on to my first argument, I have points of framing to crystallize this debate. Firstly, the burden of the motion that we need to prove in this debate is one, why using third parties such as International Material Agency is justified, but secondly then, why it could solve the problem within the status quo. Firstly, but secondly then, what do we mean by International Material Agency? Firstly, material agency helps countries to manage critical resources, reduce risk of shortage or trade conflict, and encourage more sustainable and responsible ways of using and extracting resources. It will be consist of all countries and with it will be grouped depends on resources each country has. The people on the agency are also who has genuine concern and capacity to make a policy, for example. But secondly, how to make sure that there will be no abuse of power inside the agency to generate the policy that eventually will affect all over the world. Firstly, no veto on this agency. Representatives by all countries are given the same rights to concern about their natural resources and it will be discussed together transparently so that others know the problem and they try to solve the issue together. Second, heavily imposing sanctions for countries that violate their rules, violate humanity, and capitalize all the resources for them only. Moving on to my first argument. Why is it justified that critical resources are managed by third-party international material agency, for example? When resources are governed by its own country, it makes social inequality, for example, across country in the world or within the country itself. This happened because of reasons. One, uneven management of reasons due to the fact that not all countries have capability to do good management of the resources. Developing country, for example, that have so many natural resources within their country still cannot utilize the natural resources effectively and in a sustainable manner. Because of what? One, their economic development isn't able yet to support the utilization of natural and critical resources efficiently, for example, developing country. But secondly, that their own resources are capitalized with those who have a power to control it. That's why well-being in their country don't feel like they're taking advantage of the resources, even though they know actually that their country has a lot of resources that have to be optimized and used wisely. In fact. But secondly, then, usually when it's governed by its country, it can be really quite harmful to environmental because for developing country that cannot manage it well, it will be reduced. It will be waste the resources itself. Let's now compare it with if critical resources are managed by third parties such as International Material Agency. International Material Agency itself will make sure that the management of the countries around the world will be responsible in using critical resources. Like why it's crucial? Because one, critical resources are unrenewable resources that emerge in a very long period of time. If it's used inactively and not wisely, they will be all gone, and we need to wait for the resources to develop to emerge. But secondly, then, if even the resources and still money in today's world, it can lead to trade conflict due to the fact that not every country has exact abundant resources, but they actually need it, so that it will trigger collision amongst countries. For example, the conflict in the Middle East that currently happened right now. Iran, for example, which country who has massive oil resource and it's actually well managed, but because its resource is abundant in this conflict, they waste it. You can see the many videos of them in social media. But what the impact of the world today is leading to the increasing the prices of petroleum and leads to the increasing mass of goods, even if it's the basic one. So, by letting International Material Agency to manage these critical resources, it can more develop the usage of resources and address trade conflict. Moving on to my second argument, but why it can solve problem within the status quo, we see that it's an effective way to encourage countries to be more responsible and sustainable ways of using the extract point. and it can prevent countries such as powerful countries from capitalize all the goods that it's actually needed by all country over the world. So proud to propose.